Thanks, Ursula. If you're watching, probably not yet, but thank you. I didn't realize that Instagram was an option. I added my Twitch, but I don't generally go live on Twitch because I don't know. It's just a weird space. I feel like it's for gamers. I don't want to like hop on to the gamers thing and be like, hey, look at us and our paranormal / healing stuff. Hi, Sophia.
Hey,
Happy
gamers
Tuesday.
need
I
healing too.
keep forgetting today's Tuesday. I almost said happy Monday to you. So if
I've
I
had
say
that
happy
happen
Monday,
so many times already today. Two of my clients were like, Happy Monday. And even our sweet Lexi was like, it's very much a Monday, or she kept saying the Tuesday of a Monday. I mean, a Monday of a Tuesday. She kept going back and forth. Lex, if you're there, say hello. We have some questions for you. Hi, Sophia. Hi, Andrea. Hi, Emily. Happy Tuesday. I think part of it too is happy spring. We have a new season going on, and there's Lexi. Lexi, if you are interested in coming on as a guest tonight, yes, Crystal and I have some questions for you, and if you're down, we'll send you the link. And she said it's very much a Monday, Tuesday this morning. If you're down, we will send you the link, and you can hop on as a guest because we have some specific things we want to ask you or talk to you about. And of course, it
hell
can take a few to
yes.
get ready. And if you can't, if you're momming it, that's cool too. Hey, Alicia, Lexi said, send it. You want to send it or you want me to? You got it?
I got it.
Awesome. Crystal's the shit. So we have new moon going on right now too. It was at 1:23 today, East Coast time for us, 1:23, which I thought was so cool. And so I'm just checking in on our comments. Andrea's down. Robert Stanley Bell, how do you feel about all these fraud psychics on Facebook? I don't know. They're doing what they're doing. Hi, Terry. Welcome. We always use this. Too many
Frog
Sister
psychics?
Cleos. That's
Oh,
just it.
frog.
We call it a lot of
I
the
said
time.
frog, like frogs. I was like,
Oh,
wait, what? Hold up. We have frog psychics? We have
fraud.
sorry.
For us, it's all about, we feel like anybody, if they choose to do their work, their shadow work, empower themselves a bit, can tap into a lot of these gifts that we have naturally. And there are people out there, well, you'll call it like addicted to the prediction, where they just want to get, answers to certain things and not willing to do, the positive communication or some of the work. So we like talk about that a lot. We bring
yeah.
things up. So we're
So like
glad you're here. Thanks for hopping on. Terry,
Lexi and
welcome.
I kind of talked about that this morning a little bit, very, very little bit. Because there was a girl on there yesterday that I saw, and it was TikTok. It actually was TikTok, and she was calling
Oh, we have
herself
a
a
troll.
medium. But she was using a spirit box. And Crystal's ego likes to pop in, and I just wanted to like, you're not a medium if you have to use a spirit box. That's not how this works.
Terrified Reader, thanks for stopping by. We always use trolls as an opportunity to teach. So we're glad you're here, but we're going to block you. And the reason is because we feel like if you are a true helper, healer, psychic, space holder, that people will come to you. And they will ask you, and Alicia says, your trolls are here, and they will ask you. So we always encourage our audience too, like if you guys are wanting a reading with someone and you follow them, reach out to them, let them know. Anybody who comes after you, odds are it's not a good sign. And a lot of people's stuff gets hacked all the time. And even some of our favorite teachers will like get hacked, and then you'll get messages from them and stuff too. So it's so important to be aware if that happens. So thank you all so much for being here. We're grateful. And yes, we've got new spring energy. We've got all kinds of stuff going on. Ursula printed out an astro forecast, or I should say recorded and shared. It's a little mini reel, and it's like, I don't know, it's from her full Becoming Chiron episode, and then she shared a little clip with her astro forecast, so you guys could hop on to Sea Goddess and check that out if you want to know a little bit more about the astrology going on, because there's a lot happening and she's excited about it and says there's great energy, and we've got this new moon and this new season going on.
I liked this, Sophia. I had to go back to it. After I thought we were talking about frog psychics, I had to go back and read the comment. So last night I had some major movement happen for releasing toxins in my body. We were just talking about releasing toxins before we hopped on here. So
we're going to talk about that more. Stay tuned.
I was like, we are all seriously doing that, apparently. I've been working with Archangel Michael to release, and wow, I feel like I died and was reborn last night. And that's why I wanted to come back to this, because If you guys have ever heard me talk in very short detail, because I have not posted the full ass story about this in a long time, it was on an old YouTube. I talk about being or having attachments from a specific situation with a boyfriend that I had, and how you release toxins or release attachments. It's like purging yourself. And I have to tell you, it was a whole experience, Sophia. It lasted a whole night, and it came to me in dream form, but it was so real to me that I thought that I was going to wake up and be covered in, please cover your ears if you don't like to hear stuff like this, but I thought I was going to be covered in vomit when I woke up. It was such an experience for me. Like, the purging was all night, and I can go into it in greater detail, like sometime on a video if you guys would like me to. But at the same time, when you say that, I'm like, yes, because purging energies and purging past traumas and purging some of the experiences is never pretty. And it gets caught in our freaking body. It gets caught into our emotional system. It gets caught in our organs. And so the only way to move it through is to purge it metaphysically and physically speaking, and emotionally sometimes too. And so it all kind of works together. And so that's a really neat comment. And I'm happy that you experienced that and allowed it, because a lot of us, when it looks traumatic, because boy, was mine traumatic, and yours sounded a little bit nutty too. I feel like we don't always allow that to happen. We kind of stop the process of allowing our body to do that. So interesting. I would like to
Thank you for sharing that, Sophia. And Crystal, Lexi messaged me again and asked for the link, so I don't know if it went through.
I did. Oh,
but that's Lord, okay. Sorry. Lexi, keep posted from Crystal, because she's got it. And Sophia, thank you again, because it's so important to be a little vulnerable and to share. And vulnerability is all about just kind of exposing our wounds and sharing them, or what's going on. Lewis, thanks for stopping by. We appreciate you. But anytime we have something going on, we anytime we get a troll, we thank you for stopping by, and then we send you on your way. So Sophia brought up some stuff, and so did Crystal, talking about how when we get these kind of ascension symptoms sometimes, and we will have, because it's stored deep at a cellular level in our muscle bellies, we will have these upgrades going on, and sometimes it doesn't feel the best. Oh, Sophia said, I had a migraine for hours. Yes, I threw up a lot. It felt like I was drunk and getting out all the nastiness, but I don't drink. That can happen. And that can happen when we're upgrading sometimes, and it'll just come through real quick, and it's like a quick flu or something. And it happens to us because we're releasing our traumas and dramas and belief systems that are at a cellular level that we don't resonate with anymore. And sometimes that purge has to happen. So just know that when we have physical symptoms, yes, of course, something could be wrong, but sometimes it's more often than not that we're healing and things are coming online for us to get a little more balanced.
And I'm going back to Terry also, because she was like, so the question of the night is, my thoughts are so scattered lately. When the energies shift and go on a roller coaster ride, I also get scattered. I think that's a spiritual experience. I think a lot of people who are spiritual people in ascending and getting clarity and learning how to let certain things go and move forward and understand differently, I feel like some of us do get a little bit scattered because there's a lot of energies happening around. And so it's, to me, how I view it is like an old ping pong game or something. Like when you go in and you have the game where the ball just kind of goes, that's how I feel some days, especially when things are being amped up here and not here. And then this is stagnant and this is like going haywire. So it's all these different things happening around us. And it's kind of like our energies are being pulled in all these different spaces. That's when we really have to focus in on our grounding and pulling ourselves back into each other. Remember, you're two separate people, Miss Terry, two separate people living in one little capsule. And so you got to put all your capsule pieces back into the entire pill. And so pull yourself back together and remind yourself that we've got all the answers. We've got all the things. We have all of the knowledge. We have all the in that moment. Second part of that is you don't feel your people. How many times, Mandee, have you heard me say I can't channel my own people that way?
Crystal has said that many, many times. Oh, another troll. We're getting a lot of trolls tonight. We must be sharing in new places. Hi, Lonnie Marie. Thanks for stopping by. If somebody truly wants to work with you, they will message you. And we hope you hang on and learn a few things, but we're going to block you from commenting. So yes, talk about that. And I feel like too, I have a lot of comments about this when we're not connected, but yes, share about how many times that's happened for you.
So like I can connect with my loved ones, and I'll say it like that. But the connection with your loved ones is different because it chimes in differently. To me, it's more of a pop in, pop out, pop in, pop out, pop in, pop out. It's not a conversation. So what you're looking for is the conversation, the connection. You're looking for the entire you want the love from the moment we wake up until the moment we go to bed. Like all of us want that. Who doesn't want that? But when you're somebody who's learning to channel a little bit differently, I am this is what my people have told me. We can't do that because there's things throughout our day that we have to respond to. There are things throughout our day that we have to move through. There are things throughout our day that we have to hone in on ourselves in. And if our loved ones are constantly tapping in, tuning in, and giving us what we need throughout our day, then they're kind of cheating the math test for us, which is the school of life thing that we're in. And so it's them there. Their presence is there. They're there. They give you beautiful specks and pieces and crumbs along the way. And it's like, oh, I knew that was Scott right there. I knew that was my cousin Scott chiming in. And I haven't seen that in a long time. Jerk, give me bazooka bubblegum. I know what bazooka bubblegum means, but it makes me laugh. And it's something fun throughout my day. And that's
so sweet and cute.
I know. Nice. It's so cool.
And I literally tasted it when you said that. And it's been so long.
So it's one of those things, Terry, where you have to learn how to understand that they're there, even if they're not talking to you the way that they used to. And it's a catch-22. It's the knowing behind it. And it's the receiving different, I think, for me, that I had to learn throughout this process. Spirit does not speak, communicate, or is not in our bubble. I think that I'm going to say it like that. The way that people's interpretation of it is. It's all different. It's so much different than what people expect it to be that it makes it harder for us, I think, sometimes to see that they're already there. And that's the best way that I can explain that as a medium to another, what I would consider medium, because I feel like you do chime in. I think you do connect with, I think that you do feel, you might not talk the way that I do, but you can talk and communicate in different ways. And as we get closer to the spirit world, we're living amongst them. And so we don't need to outwardly connect as much because they're here already, if that makes any sense at all. And then she wanted a card also.
Oh, yeah. We got you, Terry. And the other part, too, especially women, all of us men, too. But like half the month we are new and in bloom, and half the month we are releasing and things are falling away. And it's so important to remember that. And what happens too is when we're in any sense of overwhelm, no matter who you are, no matter where you are in your path, we're in overwhelm, we're in an energetic state where we can't receive. And if there's lots going on and different things are shifting or happening and we are stressed or overwhelmed, what happens is our heart chakra literally kind of gets a little blocked and turned off. Our angels and ancestors, like Crystal said, they're still there for us. They still love us. They're still hanging on and hugging us, trying to give us messages. But when our energy is overwhelmed because of our universal laws and boundaries and the law of consent and all that good stuff, when we are in overwhelm, we can't receive, whether it's guilt, shame, criticism, fear, resentment, any of those icky lower vibrational feelings that we literally feel this way. The angels, God, the universe, they're like, oh my God, Andrea, I'd love to give you
a minute.
Yes, that phone call, that job, that house, whatever it is that you're looking for at that time, that support. Whenever that's happening, it's because we are overwhelmed and they can't give it to us. When we relax and we calm down, I teach this often. If you've held soul space with me or been on some of my lives, many of my clients know this, that if we take a few deep breaths and just go over 10 things we're grateful for, what happens is we neurologically distract ourselves from whatever is going on consciously or subconsciously. And when we focus on gratitude, it's one of the higher vibrations we can feel. And I've worked with all kinds of different people going through all kinds of trauma and drama and shock and loss and hospice and all kinds of things. And almost every single person I work with can find a way to be grateful in that moment, no matter what's going on. And what happens is that benefits you. It brings like a neutral point. It connects you up to a higher vibration. And you're able to come back into the present and turn on your signs. And so know too that Sometimes also when we're asking for help and we can't get it, those moments where you're calling your best friend, you're calling your mom, you're calling everybody in the world and nobody's picking up your phone and you're like, why? I just need help right now. Like, I don't have and you're like having a meltdown. When that happens, it's because we're meant to do this on our own, because we're meant to have some aha moments, some realizations, or we're also meant to not be influenced by, even if it's someone we love, whatever their energetic imprint is at that time. And so there is sacredness when that happens. And so right now, too, I'm going to pull you a card for Terry.
Trust and patience. Trust and patience. That's what I just heard. Trust and
Well,
patience.
look what popped out. Wait, no. Postpone. Wait. It says wait, postpone, pause, say no. Talk about trust and patience, right? And when scattered stuff happens, it's just because we're overwhelmed. So what can you do? And there's also energies going on and shift of seasons. And you had another one pop out, which is the priestess. How are you being called to step up and lead? And I think that this is an opportunity for you to step into your routine, into the things that bring you into wholeness, into peace, into being neutral, and then you'll start to be able to receive. And if you have those rock bottom moments where no one is answering, including spirit guides, it's because you got this and you're able to handle it and you're supposed to nurture yourself a little bit. So I hope that helps and I hope that supports you, Andrew.
I love that. I love that. I love that you hit on that because once again, layers, guys, layers. Spirit is layers. It's not just one. It can be a whole bunch of things. It can be one thing individually. It can be just not your time. And so looking at things in an open perspective, like the beautiful lotus flower, looking at things in that open perspective is actually going to help you understand, instead of trying to hyper focus on what you might be doing wrong. Maybe they're just trying to teach you. Maybe they're just saying, hey, you've got this. You've got this. And you know you've got this because you had it before. And so you already have that knowledge. Why do you need us to tell you you have that knowledge? You don't need validation from us because you've already experienced this. Like, love yourself, man. Mm-hmm. Love yourself. And so it's not necessarily like you're trying to push things away or that you're doing something wrong. Sometimes it's just the course of the universe and them saying, no, we trust you and we know you have this time around. So we're going to let you deal with this. So have faith in yourself too. Trust yourself. Be patient with yourself, not just spirit, not just the outside. Also take that internally too. That's like so important for a lot of us. Like that was all my therapy today, by the way, guys, was me learning how to love myself and trust myself.
Oh my God. Can we talk about that for a sec? If you're willing to share.
Absolutely. Like part of my issue from all of the CPTSD, because like that's not just one specific issue. This is like years of traumas and dramas that have occurred in my life.
That's what PTSD is. It's complex. What does that mean?
So complex post-traumatic stress means that you got a lot of shit in your basket. And so in the day when you wake up,
trauma.
I'll give this the way spirit gives it to me. This is actually something that spirit has presented to other people. So in the morning you wake up and you have your day, you have your things that you're supposed to go through, and you have this basket and your stuff is supposed to be in the basket. And 9 times out of 10, what happens is we go through our day and people are like, oh, you can handle this, throws it in your basket. And then you can do this and that, blah, blah, blah. And the next thing you know, your basket's full of everybody else's shit. It's kind of what CPTSD is. My basket is full of everybody else's shit that they have placed into my basket throughout the years, whether it be projection, trauma, drama, all these things. I don't know where it comes from. I don't even remember parts of my childhood at all. Like I cannot even remember big chunks of my childhood and my past. I have these dreams of things that reoccur that I'm like, did that happen? Did that not happen? And I
want to talk about that too after this, because I think that happens for a lot of people.
So that has been a thing because, and I'm going to say this, trigger warning, plug ears, take mics off, do whatever you need to.
Or take a deep breath. See if it resonates with you.
I'm going to say it because I
don't get offended before it happens.
Right. So I have this whole child molestation thing that keeps coming up, but I don't remember it. Okay. And so it's like, it's those things that play havoc with your brain and havoc with your mind, because you're like, I remember this and I feel this and I experience this, but is it actual reality? But then there's all the other stuff that has taken place too. And so in this, I feel personally, and please don't hear me wrong, anybody that's listened to me or knows me for my whole entire life, hurt people, and I was the asshole too at one point in time. I own that 100%. Asshole too in many times in life. I'm not the crazy person, or think all of you are the crazy people. I'm saying that I know what has happened to me in my life and how that made me feel. And so when I look back on this, it's almost put me into a perspective or put me into a space where I don't feel safe putting up boundaries. Because when you put up boundaries with people, 9 times out of 10, society doesn't like those boundaries. Okay. And so we brought up, oh God, I'm bringing up deep shit here, guys. We brought up, hi Lex. So we brought up in my conversation with our therapist today, we brought up Ben ever looking at and or getting custody of his son because his son keeps texting him saying he wants to live with us. Well, we all know what a hot mess express that situation was. And what brought this up, I've learned, is that dealing with that situation, his ex-wife is actually one of my abusers. And so if she's in my life, I have to live with my CPTSD constantly being re-triggered in ways because the court system took away our safety. The court system forced us to be in a situation that wasn't safe. And so what I said was, and I told my therapist, I said, I love you, but if this is the case, and if you do want to fight for that, I understand that because it's your son. And I know that's what your son needs and he deserves and blah, 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 all those things. I need a divorce though. That's my boundary. I need a divorce because I can't live in that state of turmoil with that woman being in my life because she caused so much pain, so much turmoil, so much hate, so much ugliness, so much trauma. And the court system did absolutely nothing to stop it from happening. And on top of that, not only did they not do anything to stop it, they didn't believe it and they allowed the abuse. I can't do that to myself. And so society would say, what a selfish woman you are. You're such a selfish woman because how dare you put that on your husband? How dare you put that on him? I'm not putting anything on him. I'm bowing out gracefully and stating that I know if I stay in this situation, I'm not going to be safe for anybody because my triggers are going to constantly be coming up. I'm going to constantly be put into or backed into a corner, and I'm not going to be able to live my life, and I'm not going to be happy, and everybody around me is going to be unhappy because then I'm being re-triggered and I'm not safe to be in a safe place to get through the trauma of the triggers. And so I'm taking responsibility and saying, this isn't safe for me. And she was like, you're right. And doesn't that make you more adult by admitting that you know this isn't safe for you? You deserve safety too. Just because I'm an adult and I'm 42 years old doesn't mean that other adults have the right to push on me their perspective of life and their understanding of life. And they don't get to manipulate. They don't get to abuse. They don't get to decide what's safe and unsafe for me. And so that was our conversation today. And I don't trust myself to make those choices and decisions because I have been trained my whole entire life to think that I'm selfish in making these choices and decisions. And it has caused me so much turmoil inside of myself because now as an adult, I don't even know if I'm making the right choices anymore. Like I'm constantly in this mindset of, are you the bad person? Are you not the bad person? Are you the narcissist? Are you not the narcissist? Are you being it's constant turmoil inside of myself. And so I myself am in this state right now where I'm relearning how to listen to myself because I've been told essentially that I'm wrong my whole entire life. And I've lost all balance in my own system for what's right and wrong for me. And on top of that, society likes to tell us that every time we say no, or we say I can't, or we have a mental emotional breakdown of some sort, that we're the problem and it's all on us and we're at fault. And that's simply not true. Through the court's perspective, my husband and I are abusive. We're sociopaths. We're narcissists because she's made it very clear about her story, but they didn't want to listen to ours. All safety and security has been taken out of our life because of that. They didn't hear our story at all. and they are convinced my husband's a drug addict. And that doesn't make any sense to me based on her perspective alone. There's been no proof that had to be given. But because of that whole system, because of that whole situation, because of that whole scenario and the years of having to deal with it, 3 years, guys, I couldn't anymore. I had put myself back into such a mental, emotional state of depression because my CPTSD had been constantly triggered, pushed, that I myself was finding myself suicidal again this last year. I can't do it. And I know that if I want to live and if I want to be who I'm supposed to be, there are things that I can't allow into my life. And that's a situation that is very unsafe for me, even though that child deserves all the love, all of everything that he deserves. I hope he gets it, because good God Almighty, do I know how it feels not to. And that's what causes me to be so ingrained in this situation, because I see in him me when I was a kid. And that's what re-triggers the situation. So it's a whole thing. And today was that talk about how to learn how to trust yourself, and understanding that the very fact that you're saying, hey, I don't trust you because you've always put everybody else's needs, wants, desires, rights, wrongs before your own, because you were so afraid of ruffling feathers. That in a sense is taking responsibility for where you're at today and taking responsibility for what you can trust going forward. And I'm finally learning how to trust myself and trust my gut and be unapologetic for it. And so when people come back at me and they're like, you're this, you're that, I'm like, yeah, I fucking am. I don't care anymore. You're a narcissist. So fucking what? You've been that way your whole life, and I'm being that way once. So fucking what? I don't care anymore. I can't care. I've cared too much about too many things, and it's made me so mentally, emotionally, and physically sick that just now I'm starting to finally live again. And that's so important. So that's my spiel on self-trust.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you for being open and honest and vulnerable. And I also, for you and for everyone else who's giving love and commenting and being here, like, I hold so much space for you and everybody who's been through this too, because like right now, like, yes, it's important to learn how to set boundaries and trust yourself and all of that. And this is something you can do and everyone can eventually do. It does take work. You got to show up, you got to get real with stuff. And then there is an opportunity to eventually build more trust with yourself and have safer boundaries and all that stuff. So thank you for sharing. Thank you for letting us all know where you're at. And also welcome, Lexi. Hello. Thank you for hopping on with us tonight. If you guys don't know Lexi, she is our mermaid in the mountains at Sea Goddess Healing Arts. She's an incredible mom of 4. She's a conscious parent. She's a recovery coach. She's a medium. She is a lymphatic drainage masseuse, I should say, among many, many other things, and such an incredible creatrix. And we're happy to have you. What's up?
Thank you. I am, in full mom mode in between drop off, pickup, dinners. Oh my gosh, it's like the fun chaos of the thick of parenthood. I'm in the thick of it. I got a kid in almost every stage, and we're learning how to practice letting spirit be my guide, and that self-love, because I want my kids to learn it. So the topic that you were just talking about resonates very deeply as somebody who comes from a lineage, as I'm recognizing my ancestry and where I come from, the roots of my wounds, my triggers, my everything. I realize that there is some serious generational wounds for women around being made to think that our worthiness was in how much we self-sacrificed. And I see this theme for so many generations. And Crystal and I got to talk today, a little bit about our paranormal investigation. And one of the things that we were talking about was like how spirit has history and lessons. And I have gotten to connect with so many beautiful souls on the other side that like say the same thing, the validation. And it's like their message and what they would like to they would like for us to hear, right? They want their signs to be received and their messages to be received. And these ones that have already passed, the best way we can honor them is hear their messages and their lessons too. And women have been repressed for so long. They've been doing the work too. Every little bit of ancestry ahead of us has been paving the way for us to do the work now. And they are on the other side cheering us on, wanting us to see this and recognize our worthiness, and help bring to light their battles, their fights, because for so many generations, I can't wait, because I feel called to one of these locations that we're going to be going to investigate that used to perform lobotomies on many, many housewives and women. And I had connected with a soul on the other side about it. And I had the sharp pain, and it came in, it was a lobotomy. And her story was a mom who was just, abusive husband, alcoholic, trying to live up to the standards of the time. No support. You were disowned. You were ashamed. You were called names, just trying to do her best, had postpartum depression. And it's things that I've struggled with too. So there were so many lessons in it for me to connect with her and hear her story that helps me and has been, continue to help me. So that the thing of self-love, the voice of self-love, it's like, it's like a rose, like blooming. You know what I mean? There's layers to it, and it's a process, right? And it's like, it's natural too. It really is natural, and we make it feel shameful almost, or unnatural, or it needs to be this way, and it's so many different ways. So yeah, what are your questions though? It's killing me. I want to know what these questions were.
Oh my gosh, beautiful remarks. Thank you so much for that, because it's true. And women in particular, that's what we're coming back lifetime after lifetime. It doesn't matter if you're male or female. A lot of times we were female in past lives or males in past lives. And this is something all of us are choosing to take, a little bit of ownership of and recognition of, and create healing around all of that. And we have so many awesome comments, and I definitely want to get to them and all that stuff. But yes, Crystal, do you want to share with Lexi what we wanted to talk to her about?
Yes, she mentioned that you had been detoxing from parasites.
Oh my God.
Trigger warnings, of course. We are going to talk about gut health. We're going to talk about potentially us having some parasites up in us. And it's kind of really nice to talk about this while we're talking about other kind of traumas, dramas, parasitic energies, things like that, and what we can actually do to cleanse ourselves. So if this isn't your cup of tea, you got plenty of time to hop off, but Lexi is going to teach us and let us know.
I was like, I'm interested. If you don't want to hear about it, then don't, because it'll get graphic, I'm sure. But please tell me about it. And I also think it's really interesting because to me, spirit and human goes hand in hand. Like, we get what we receive. Like, I can go into this a little bit differently, but I want you to tell me. And so parasites feeding off from you. So do you feel like there's also like an energy transference and where they might have come in, or how they would have come in?
As above, so below. As above, so below. As inside, on the outside. I feel like there is spiritual parasites, and it's so connected to our internal parasites too. And so I, on my journey, am learning more as I sit with this process, go through this process, put my family through this process, my children through the process. I'm learning and seeing different layers to it. And I've done this multiple times now. It's funny because exactly a year ago was one of my first most intense fear-driven bouts of parasites. It came into my awareness. I was convinced I had parasites. Come to find out, about 60 to 70% of America has parasites. More of us have them than not, unless you're actively, fighting this good fight, because it's natural, especially in today.
They come from everywhere. I mean,
have pets. There's ways to get parasites from our pets, from our cats, our dogs. I mean, it is way too simple. And so most places, even third world countries, will offer free parasite whatever you want to call it, worming medicine, even to people visiting the country. Anybody can pretty much get it. You can get it really cheap in these places because they believe that you need to do it regularly and it should be accessible. There's different ways to go about it. But America is a little different. You kind of got to fight for it. And the funny thing is that really ticks me off. I worked in a lab. Okay, at one point I went nursing. I worked in a lab. I was smearing poops. I was smearing peas.
You were doing the stool samples.
So this is where TMI. Just if you have a weak stomach, earmuffs, okay? Just earmuffs. Muff that shit. Because here we go, Buttercup. Buckle up. Oh God, I'm sorry. It's so hard to speak about because of what. So you want to talk about living with severe anxiety? This experience of in the lab seeing this stuff under a microscope from like, I did my own fecal matter after this because I was like, I want to know what's in my poop, what's in my body. It's like under the microscope to see these things moving and how they work, right? It is insane. And there's so many different ones. There's ones that are in your kidneys. There's ones that are in your gut. There's so many different ways that they can and are in our body, and they tend to store themselves where there's toxins, fats, the pouches of buildup waste matter in our intestines. So these heavy metals give them the perfect place to hide and to feed. There's ones that have the power to actually send signals to your brain to crave sugar, to crave things that feed them more so your body. And so it is absolutely this wormhole. Sorry. We could go on forever about.
I love this shit. This is like how we actually roll all day. Lexi and I were talking about this morning before Crystal, and she was like, her face, like I was like, I wish we were recording this earlier. So welcome. Hi, Susan. Hi, Monica. I'm so glad you guys are here. We're talking a little bit about gut health and parasites. And Monica even asked, is it true when you have parasites that there's a tumor somewhere in the body? Lexi may or may not know that. We'll get to that, but she's going to share about what they look about under the microscope.
So one of the things that I have come to truly believe, and this is just from my experience, I believe tumors are actually like parasitic invasions, just in a certain form. It looks like a different form. Parasites come in different forms, like different, so it's just, I believe tumors can actually be, a lot of the times if there is a tumor in the body, you are too acidic, you need to go alkaline, and get that pH level down, and it will kill that right off. And abnormally cannot survive in a alkaline body state. So there is actually a scientist somewhere that was showing what alkaline does to cancer cells, and cancer cells were reproducing once the alkalinity was introduced to them. They started popping, and they started to stop reproducing and actually pop and disappear. And so it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing.
It's funny because I don't know if anybody on here, I know there's a couple people on here who have had like medical stuff come through, but Spirit talks about it medically. And every time they talk about something being off in your body, that's the one thing that they bring up is getting your alkalinity back to normal, because the state of alkalinity is actually what creates that dis in your body. And it's actually where everything starts to break down. But there are other forms of disorders and diseases that need that in alkalinity or that acidity to thrive and grow from. So it's interesting that you're saying that, because that's how it comes through in readings, specifically with people who have had like different growth experiences and tumors.
Yeah, and the other thing is like the alkalinity. If your body is not alkaline and you are in an acidic state, so it contributes to the brain issues like Alzheimer's, dementia, brain fog, mush brain, because Alzheimer's is technically the sheath, the covering around the nerves in the brain that fire breaks away. We actually need cholesterol, good cholesterol, to keep that like that. It's almost like a collagen protective layer around it. Sorry, winded. I guess I'm not that in shape right now. And so, actually, we create these bodies that eat away at the parts that we need, right? And it's not all our fault. We're waking up from it, right? Because a lot of the foods that we once were safe are now got new chemicals in them that are adding to this. Titanium dioxide, all of these metals. Like, there should not be silicone in our food. Do you think silicone should be in food? Do you think titanium, aluminum should be in our food? No. And a lot of it's used as anti-caking matter. It's used as, it's like they slip it in there, right? And they're like, oh, in small dosages, it's fine, but it's in everything. Not only are you putting it now in your body, it's on your body because originally it started out for sunscreen. It was an original product used for sunscreen because it prevented the sun rays. It was UV ray? It was a blocker, right? And then we were putting that in our body. That then collects, right, throughout our body. It collects in our brain. It collects in like the gray matter in our brain, which then our electrical currents. That's what causes like those headaches. Right? It's too many toxin buildups in the brain. You have migraines, detox. Do a heavy metal detox, and I'm telling you what, check back. You might have them for a little while because you're going to clean out. And people forget this. One of the problems when we cleanse and detox is we forget that it's going to trigger and bring on some nasty symptoms, some uncomfortable symptoms. That's because you're purging. This crap has been building up for so long, you've got to get it now out of your system, out of your pores, out of your tissues, out of your muscles, out of your bloodstream, out of your lymph system. A lot of times the lymph system was so backed up for so long.
We lost her.
Isn't Lexi magic? That's our girl. She's doing the mom thing, picking up the kids, teaching us all kinds of stuff. And something to add in too, when we look it up in our You Can Heal Your Life, and we think about how many people have parasites and how easily we're susceptible to them. On the emotional side, it's giving power to others, letting them take over. And then the affirmation to fix it, I lovingly take back my power and eliminate all interference.
That's why I was curious about that question, because I'm going to say that based on how I receive it, if you have parasites in your body, it's because you've allowed parasites in your life. So energetically speaking, it's the same thing. That's why I was like, interesting, because I feel like if that's what you have, then that's what you're allowing. And that's probably something that you allowed in a physical experience as well. But once again, it goes hand in hand with what I was talking about before. Just because you allow it doesn't mean that you're mentally aware that that's what you're allowing. So don't get hard on yourself. Don't be mean to yourself. When receiving this stuff and understanding it differently, give yourself love, because we only know what we know when we know it. Okay. But yes, we have actually quite a few. Lexi, I love her, by the way. And we have quite a few. We have a couple comments, and they're all based on, it's weird, today's must be the day, but it's all based off from health issues. And I'm just going to say my PSA, because I feel like we have to do that. We're not doctors, nurses. We can't diagnose. We can't treat. We can't do any of that stuff. You got to take what we say and use it for your life the best way possible. And Spirit has been able, I'm sure they have through Mandee also, to give people a pretty good understanding and perspective of certain things that are going on and around in your life. And Olivia says, please help me. I'm having health issues. Is there anything I need to know? Also, is anyone been trying to reach out to me? How do I open up to seeing the signs? Well, like Mandee had said earlier, if you've got a lot of chaos or stuff happening in your space, it's going to be harder for you to receive those signs for yourself anyway, which is probably why they're doing this to me. This, once again, means path change. This means path change, but veering off the same path that we're already on, not necessarily taking a huge leap into a different direction. With you, they're making me feel like these are similar experiences that you've had over and over and over again, and it's kind of becoming something different, or it's probably starting to get worse. So I would take that almost like as my autoimmune diseases. For years, you would have those things, and then all of a sudden they're like, poof, here we are, loud and proud, and we have to learn how to deal with these. And they're almost making me feel like, in some sense, some of these issues, some of these problems that you've had have actually been kind of like laying under the surface for a while. And they're probably getting to a point now today where it's almost like you can't ignore them now. And so as before, you were able to ignore them and push them down and not pay attention to your body and paying attention to the signals that your body was giving to you. And now it's getting to the point where you can't do that. And so they're making me feel like, first off, like they're giving me starting point and end point. And they're putting the space actually quite big in between the two, which means to me that you're in the beginning stages of being able to make the leaps, to make the changes. And once again, I'm not a doctor, but they are almost making me feel like a lot of the things that you have going on right now could be changed by your diet specifically, because they're not making me feel like you're a celiac person. However, they are making me feel like you are highly sensitive to additives in food, which not everybody is. Some people are. I'm extremely sensitive. Ben is not. He can eat whatever he wants and not be affected at all. I, however, if I eat something that has chemicals in it or whatever, I know I'm going to be feeling it on an autoimmune level for the next week and a half, because my body's more sensitive to everything. That's part of the gifts that I have. And they're making me feel like your body's becoming more sensitive to the process that you've already should have been following a long time ago. And so I feel like right now you're at the beginning stages of really starting to fully understand what health you need for your body. And so even though they may look like illnesses to you, they're actually making me feel like these are triggers before the illnesses take place. So I don't know what that means to Mandee, and I don't know if she can pull a card or whatever. I don't know what she's seeing and receiving, but they're making me feel like right now you really just need to focus on your health, mentally, emotionally, physically healthy. And you really need to start paying attention to what you're putting back into your body, even when it comes to the people and the situations around you, because emotional and mental unhealth will also lead your body to a state of dis as well. And so they're just making me feel like it's all of those things coming to a head for you. And you finally starting to say, wait a second, I need to really start focusing on me and not you or this or that or whatever's happening here, because that's been your life. They're making me feel like you've always been somebody who just has everything happening around you, and you haven't really been able to hone in on yourself. You're not stopping to smell the roses in your own life. And they're making me feel like they're asking you to pull in and stop and smell the roses for you now instead of all of everybody. So that's how they're showing me. And I can be wrong. Not a doctor.
And the other thing is too, thank you so much for being here, Olivia. Thank you for sharing. When we have, for me, I truly believe this is my favorite resource. We share it all the time. It's in the description of this show. You can heal your life. I truly believe that when health issues are coming up, it's because there's things that are imbalanced. Maybe it is the food we're eating. Maybe it's the energy and the people we have around us. Maybe it's the own thoughts we have with ourselves. For me, I used to get really bad gout attacks. Gout is the emotional thing, is impatience and need to dominate. And I was always really patient with people and things outside of me. But when it came to myself, I was mean to myself. I'd call myself a fat, ugly bitch all the time. I would be impatient with spirit and want signs and like, oh my gosh. And I'd be so hard on myself. And I'd get gout attacks like crazy. Once I started to find some peace, once I started to change my diet a bit, once I started to release that pressure off myself, they went away. And I've been slowly healing what doctors have told me is irreversible joint damage left and right. I'm crushing it. And so just know when you get like these things come up, there are opportunities to heal, and our body mostly wants to heal. And if it's telling us that there's an imbalance, it's just because it's needing a little something, something. Oh, we have a troll. Hello, Alicia. Welcome. Thank you for joining us tonight. We always use trolls as an opportunity to let people know that if you truly want to hold soul space, people won't reach out to you. True readers will not reach out to you. They will not tell you that you need something. You will go to them. And so thank you for stopping by. And if people reach out to you, to our listeners, let them know, hey, I'll come to you if I want to. Thanks. Bye. So Olivia, I'm going to pull you a card for Olivia. You got two. Yes. Say yes. So if you're thinking about doing some sort of cleanse or seeing a physician or reading a book or changing your life in some way or adding in some strengthening or something like that, say yes to it. It's going to help. If you're on the fence about what to do with this, just know that you need to say yes. You need to be willing to heal it. You need to be ready and look at all kinds of opportunities with that. You also get share your voice, come out of the cave, persecution, expression. They're showing there's been times where you've been afraid to acknowledge health issues or you've kind of pushed it away. And now it's getting to the point where it's kind of a lot. And it's important to be okay to share about it, to see what's coming up, that you can heal yourself. And what'll happen is you'll learn all kinds of cool things. And you might have to avoid certain foods for a while or do certain exercises, but trust me, it'll be worth it. And we hope that that helps you and supports you and gives you some love. Oh, Lexi, our mermaid popped back in.
I'm back. I got my little acro girl.
Oh, you do? Who do we have? Oh, hello, Mila.
Viva.
Hey, girl.
Say hi.
Hello, everybody.
Our mini mermaid. Oh, Olivia said, wow, I'm not crying. Thank you so much. You're so welcome. And just know, like, it's going to be all right. And you got this. And if you have any specific questions, reach out to us. Let us know. And if you want to share any specific stuff going on health-wise, we can definitely give you a few resources and others when you let us know stuff. Oh, we have another troll in another language. Robert, Voyant. Thank you for stopping by. Unfortunately, we just are going to block you.
Yep.
Okay.
So I'm also being pulled, Olivia, because Lexi had made a good comment prior to when you're like getting in the mode of like doing things, crap's going to come up. And most of the time, once again, we've been trained to be like, oh, well, I have this disease. I have this disorder. I have this thing going on in my body. And so this is what I'm supposed to be feeling. And oh, I have this. I can't. So I have been diagnosed myself. Mandee has been diagnosed with autoimmune diseases. I've been diagnosed with autoimmune diseases, and none of them are fun. So I'm going to say that I was also in that space in the beginning. I was like, oh man, because I had went my whole life without having anything. And then poof, during that last CPTSD, everything just went. But the Crohn's for me specifically is the hardest thing that I have to deal with. However, when healing through trauma, you got to remember that we take in everything in spirit here. It's our solar plexus, y'all. It comes in our gut system. This is like our first form of conversation. Where does autoimmune disease lie? Gut system. That's where everything starts to get sick. So if you're somebody who's taking on energies from your whole entire life and you just take it on, and you don't know what to do with it, and it just like compiles in, then it's going to be stuck in there. So when we start the actual healing process on an emotional level or an emotional scale or a mental scale, that's literally going to come up in pain because it was a painful experience. And so you're feeling the pain physically from the mental, emotional pain that you experienced, but now in a physical way. And so you have to remember that when your body is healing, it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt. It can hurt physically. It can hurt mentally. It can hurt emotionally. It can hurt in all these different ways. And because mine was so ingrained and so rooted in the system of my gut, because I'm an empath and I take everything in and I didn't let anything out ever at all, I took it all in there. And so when we Reiki ourselves or when we go to a Reiki specialist or we see somebody like this, they take those root systems out and they reheal them. And if we don't do that or we choose to do it ourselves, it's going to come up in different ways. And so you're going to get diarrhea, you're going to get vomiting, you're going to get nauseousness, you're going to get physical pain, you're going to get gouts, you're going to get the Crohn thing. It's going to come up in different ways. And you have to find a way to understand that it's just temporary. It didn't exist yesterday. It's here in this moment. And so what is it bringing up in me? Maybe it's not bringing anything. Maybe I just need to hold myself. Maybe I need to cry. Maybe I need to rock myself. Maybe I just need a heating pad. Maybe I need to love myself. Maybe I need to make myself a smoothie to make my gut feel better. There are things that you need to do, and it's based on the physical aspect of pain as well as what emotionally is being triggered in you in that moment and what you can pinpoint it as. That's the healing a Rubik's Cube. It's not easy to put together. It's not easy to take apart. It's a hot mess. It's a puzzle. It's something that you're working on until you figure it out for you specifically. And that's why healing is so hard to teach people, because it's independent, because your pains are independent. Your trauma is independent. Your experiences are independent to you. So what's happened for me might not necessarily have happened to you. And so it's not going to work the same way. And how I experienced it wasn't how you experienced it. And so you have to find a way to move through it yourself. And so when Lexi brought that up, that was a beautiful experience. But I feel like Olivia, also on top of that, I think that what you're experiencing a lot of is that purging through the system. And to move through those traumas and dramas, we also have to understand that sometimes they will show up in a physical aspect, and we have to work through that too. And I don't believe in autoimmune diseases in the sense that I'm always going to have an autoimmune disease, guys. I cannot tell you how much my rheumatologist looks at me like I'm a crazy person when I says I can't wait until this goes back into remission, because I don't have an autoimmune disease. I was diagnosed with it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's just so many containers and labels they've put on things, right? To try and, one, there's the fear factoring that you don't have control and your body's working against you. And no, your body is trying to help you. Your body's trying to work with you. It is trying to help you recognize, right? It's trying to send you messages. When our body sends us signs of, you know, a runny nose, a cold, even breakouts. My breakouts have become sacred to me because they tell me about internal things going on. They bring my attention to where I need to bring awareness to. And same goes with like the body aches, body pains, symptoms. Our symptoms are just spiritually physical manifestations of, you know, the work we need to be doing, the attention we need to be, the energy that we need to be, you know, releasing, focus on. And it's, you know, we can treat the symptoms, but they're going to keep popping up in one way or another. It's like playing whack-a-mole until you get to the root cause, until you pull the cause, right? So, and the thing too is like they've taken away our power for so long for a reason. For a reason, right? There is a reason why they find ancient.
Go, my girl, go.
They find ancient mummies with their teeth beautiful and things intact, right? And they find these like, there's these studies.
They're still there 20,000 years later. Sorry.
I know. And the thing is, it's because it's like, you know, they want us living like we don't know, that we don't know how to know without an education, without money, when really we have this, you know, look at any natives to whatever area, land, like the Egyptians, like they would document how-tos to connect with your spiritual, your ancestor, your guides, because you can tap in. They wouldn't write out the message, right? It would be how to connect to receive this sacred, you know, message and guidance, and trust yourself, right? That trusting of the self. We've been conditioned for so many generations to not trust the self. And now we're fucking bringing it back, excuse my language, but we're bringing it back and we're breaking free from it. And I feel like that's the age of Aquarius that's happening right now. The awakening is the remembering of who we truly are and the fact that we are we're multifaceted, energetic light beings in this physical form on this one plane of experience.
Our weird flesh suits.
Only a tip of our soul here. Only a tip of it. So we have to know how to connect to the rest of it, right? In order to,
I'm sorry. Earlier we were talking and I screwed up and I was like, just the tip. And then I was like, shit, I didn't mean for that to sound so sexual. And then she did it again. She's talking about it. And I'm like, oh,
hey, whatever gets people's attention, all right? We're just trying to remember ancient codes here. It's fine. A little sexual humor gets everyone going. I shared a really funny one, or I saw a really funny one at we just shared it on the Spirit Speaks page, but there was like a news anchor sharing like the news or something, or the weather, and they were talking about like St. Patrick's Day, and they were like looking at all these people drinking beer or stuff, and she said something about like something about liking to get double fisted, and then the other news anchor like kind of made a joke about it, and then everyone was going, and then they had to get back to the news. So I love that, and that's hilarious, and that's kind of what's going on. But it plants seeds and it gets attention, and our sacred sexual energy is a whole nother ballgame. And Lex, I'd love if you'd give a little pitch to our show too, because this is what we talk about in Unschooled.
Oh yeah, we just unschool it all. We just dive in. It is like a gentle tin hat rabbit hole diving space. I am so seriously making a tin crown and some tin jewelry. Just
maybe I'll wear my Organite mermaid tail as my like unicorn horn.
It's just one of those things where it's like, you know, call me crazy, call me conspiracy. I don't care. Okay, because I realize that we're just all here doing our best. But honestly, like it's, you know, it's when you have that type of like, it lines up, the dots are connecting, the puzzle pieces are coming together. Like it's a duck, it quacks, it waddles, it's a duck, right? You know what I mean? Like it is what it is. Like it's okay. It's okay if you don't see it. You know, we all see things differently, experience things differently. I'm just going from my personal experiences, my personal, you know, oh my God. Because when you have those moments where it's like, you know, like, holy cow, you want to scream it from the rooftop. Like, why is this knowledge? Why are we not talking about this? Why didn't I learn this sooner? Why isn't this something that is more common? Why isn't this more normal to know this information, have this information, have access to the fact that we can heal ourselves and that we don't need to go spend thousands of dollars or be rich or be lucky enough to have a good doctor or good insurance to heal ourselves? You know what I mean? We got to stop giving our power away and thinking we're not capable. And that first form of self-love and self-respect comes in remembering, oh, who you are, you know, and the power you have, the capabilities that you do have, that channel that you do have available to you, those God-given gifts that you just have to exercise and flex, right? Like the parasites, you got to flex that shit out. You got to exercise the practice of mindfulness of, you know, what's in your body and how you're going to get it out. What are you putting in your body? And, you know, so, and it has a direct correlation to your mood too, and how things go in life, right? When you start loving yourself, that love pours in everywhere else. I find it easier to give love when I'm loving myself, you know?
Absolutely. I am going to highlight a comment, one more comment, because I know we're at the end here. And also, while I'm highlighting this comment, I am going to say that Lexi and I did talk this morning, and I'm going to be posting a video on us tomorrow. So if you want to get that, then you can go to my YouTube page, and we're also going to share it with Lexi so she can share it wherever she wants to share it also. So I just want to let you know, we are making paranormal. That's what we've decided to call it. Lexi and Crystal make paranormal because it's all crazy. We're all a part of it. We're just trying to coexist at this point. Inga says, during my last reading with you, Crystal, you mentioned I would be having some medical issues that I would have to deal with due to my past history. Well, it's hitting me hard. Major surgery next week, which will determine a lot. You're going to be fine, by the way. I have been very ill since returning from California, still not back to work. My gosh. Also interesting about that. My gosh, because of what we talked about this morning. Weird thing is, during this time, I have felt my family very close to me, almost like they were by my side during this, trying so hard to stay positive. I continue to heal from my whole life. And I think that got cut off. I don't know if I can see the full entire comment, but that's all I can do here. I will say that I feel like you're going to be fine, because I feel like you're finally starting to take your healing into your own hands at this point, Miss Inga. And I think that that's been a long time coming, because it's been a struggle bus for you based on what they're presenting to me and what I also know about your life. But they're making me feel like you're finally in a place where you're like finally like being the duck and just letting things roll off your back and being like, it's yours to deal with, not mine to deal with. I've got to stop doing this and stop thinking this way and understand that I can't stop World War III from happening. Okay. And that's hard for all of us to do. It looks like micromanaging, but I feel like our hearts are in it, especially if we're empathic. Our hearts are in it in the right places. But sometimes we put our own energy into situations and people and things that we can't help, and we want to really bad, because why? We love them. At the end of the day, we love people, and we don't want them to struggle. We don't want them to suffer. We want them to have happiness in their life. And so we put all of our eggs into their basket, trying to make them understand something that they're incapable at that point and somehow of understanding. And so as they're showing this to me, they're making me feel as though that at the end of the day, you're taking a lot of things now into your own wheelhouse, so to speak. And so you're starting to make the changes necessary for you. There she is. Add to stream. I was like, there she is. But you're starting to take those things into consideration for yourself. And as we stated before, it's not just one thing. It's mental, emotional, physical. It's all the things, which is hard, guys. That's hard. Because if you think it's hard to just focus on a diet and focus on food, well, then put your mental health into it and try to change how you do that. And then also try to change how you're thinking and retraining your brain. It's difficult to do all of those things together, and it's exhausting. But now you have help.
But possible.
It is possible. It's very possible.
I like to start with the mental health, but we all have our own choices.
But they're making me feel like, Inga, right now you're starting to actually get the things into your life that are helping you. Before, you didn't have the tools. You have these tools now. And so what they're doing is they're going forward, once again, off the same path, which means to me that now you're going to make healthy choices and decisions that you actually need for yourself, your body, your mind, your forward motion, instead of just taking all these things and trying to make them work and hoping they stick like spaghetti being cooked on the stove. So I feel like you're going to be fine. I feel like this is going to be a rough recovery, only in the sense, not like a rough recovery. They're making me feel like the recovery from it in the sense is going to be rough because you don't like to stand still. But they're really making me feel like you need to stand still right now. You need to give yourself patience. You need to give yourself time. You need to stop trying to do. And you need to pull yourself back and re-energize internally for yourself going forward, because that's what's going to hurt you the most in life if you don't take this pause and you don't try to focus on what makes you feel the best going forward. What's the clutter in your life? That's the question they have for you. What clutter can you get rid of in your life? And they're making me feel like that's a flat question. Now they want you to think about what clutter they're talking about, because that's a heavy question, okay? There's a lot of clutter right now. And so they're just asking you to kind of declutter a little bit for yourself, for your mind, for your heart, and for your circulatory system altogether, okay? So they're giving you lots and lots of love, and they are lifting you. And don't freak out. Your loved ones are only around you because that's what they're supposed to be doing. They're supposed to be around you. They're supposed to be loving you. They're supposed to be here for you. They're supposed to be helping you. They're supposed to be giving you lots and lots and lots of comfort and love because you held their hand. Why wouldn't they be here to hold yours? Okay. So that's it. I wanted to make sure I dealt with that one because that was a big one. And so I love you guys and thank you for letting me sit with Inga.
Big love, Inga. Big blessings for your surgery. You got this. You got this. You got this. Oh, you even got, I pulled one card real quick. The wise one, grow within your current situation. There you are, wise woman. You've got this. Not your first rodeo. Opportunity to truly just heal and be and see what there is for you.
Also, I did want to say, like, the only thing that Lexi, you can attest to this, very short, I promise. It's funny that it happened during California because California is a very energetic place. And so it's funny to me that it would have came up while you were here in California because we were talking about the energy in some of the places in California. So interesting. It's just interesting why it would have been like kapoo, because the EMF field in certain places here are intense, is what I will say. Very intense. So going from Michigan to where you're used to being to here and having that EMF shift would definitely cause like a vibrational. It's like throwing a rock into a pond and seeing it ripple out. That's what happens in our body too. So just, it's interesting that you said that.
That's so true.
Alrighty, my dears. I'm sorry. I keep talking. How do we contact you? Mandee. We'll go with Mandee first because she's in the middle.
Thank you all so much for showing up tonight. I know we didn't get to all of the readings, all the questions, all the comments. You are all seen. You are loved. You are heard. We are so glad you're here. You can get a hold of me on SeaGoddessHealingArts.com. We share all of our classes, workshops, live streams, events coming up, free events like drum circles, stuff like that. And then I'm also hosting, or I also have, for anybody who makes it to the end of any live, I always give off a 50% coupon. 50 lot. If you want to work with me, you just go to my website or our website to my page with Book with Mandee, and any of my services, if you type in the code Mandee Live, it'll give you 50% off. And I'd be honored to help you along your path. And that's how you get a hold of me. And we have Drum Circle coming up if you're in the New Jersey area on Thursday night. Ursula has a lunar alchemy class going on tomorrow night. And yeah, we have other things too that I'm not even thinking about right now. I'm teaching a tapping workshop Monday night. We've got online soul circle coming up next Tuesday. We have Unschooled tomorrow live with Lexi and I at noon, something like that. I remember when I look at my schedule. And then all kinds of great things. So thank you so much for being here and holding the space and allowing yourselves to tune into your own soul path and being open and honest and willing to receive different information and look at things through different perspectives and see what this Earth School journey is about for you. Thank you for being here. Lexi, how can people get a hold of you?
Thank you. So I'm over at SeaGoddessHealingArts.com also. And I have a code that I have yet to share, which is Lexi15. So if anybody wants to book, it's 15% off my offerings. So over at some things Mandee left out, we're also Thursday nights, we will be doing on Sea Goddess Healing Arts a tarot. What do we call it?
Thursday night lives, and Lexi's kind of calling it an alternative to Thirsty Thursday, and we can call it Thirsty for Knowledge Thursday in spirit. And so we've been doing lives this week. We're going to decide tomorrow, because we're all about transparency. On Wednesdays, and we have our drum circle on Thursday night that Ursula and I are going to be going to. And we're going to see if Jesse and Lexi are available to do live. If they are, they're going to hop on with you. And if not, we're going to live stream from drum circle and you guys get to tune in there. So either way, we will be live on Thursday night as we have been.
Yeah, and then I do a free Goddesses in Recovery every other Sunday at 3:33 p.m. It is a free Zoom group for people that want to support or are in recovery or have somebody in their life in recovery. It's just a sacred space to come together and just, hold and uplift and make a tidal wave of change around the stigmas and healing. So, yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
I love that so much. God, I love that so much. It needs to happen so much. Can I just do this to you?
Yes, we can all do that. Crystal, what's going on in your world? Yes, and how do they get a hold of you?
So you can contact me for a reading, but to be completely honest, you won't be able to book with me for like 6 to 8 weeks because I'm having surgery finally on my 13-year rotator cuff on the 13th of next month, and I am so excited about it. It's been 13 years of me healing and getting to a place where I can allow this healing to finally happen. So hopefully I will be able to use my body again. So yes, you can book with me, but at the same time, you might want to wait until after I'm done after the 6 weeks, just because you're going to be waiting for a minute. But you can contact me through my new website, which is Spirit Speaks LLC. And I thank you guys so very, very much. You can find us all on YouTube also. Sea Goddesses on YouTube. The link to their website is going to be in the description. It is in the description. So give us a like, subscribe, do the things, share us if you find us fun. And we love you guys very, very much. We hope you guys all have an amazing, amazing week. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Love you guys. Love you, Lexi. Thank you for tuning in. Love you, Mandee.
Love you. Love you.
You look both. So pretty right now, by the way. I forgot to say that to you. You look very Valentine's-y today. Red is beautiful on you.
Well, thank you. This is, I had clients all day, and Ursula and I had office, and we did a bunch of shit, and then I had to run to the bank and make a deposit from we do vending events on the weekend, and then I was like, I think I'm just going to try to clean for a little while. So I cleaned for like an hour before our live stream, and I was like, I need a headband. My hair's getting in the way. So I started real quick, and I was like, fuck it. And Crystal knows I was like putting on mascara right before our live stream. So thank you. And I will certainly wear this again because I enjoyed it. I found it while I was cleaning and I never worn it before. So
I know, but
here we are.
It brings out your beautiful pink in your cheeks. It really does bring out your face. It brings out the color in your face. So you're a good red wearer. I'll put it that way. Love you guys. I did put my face in the sun today for a little bit because it was finally like 60 degrees here. Love you guys. We will be in touch.
Bye.
Have a great week, guys. Love you. Thank you.
Bye.